Welcome back to the Australian Ultimate Championships for 2022. We've got the flip for this men's match. Off you go, lads.
Words.
We'll take defense, please.
Not a problem. We'll take the... Oh, what? What do you end? We don't know what end we want. We want the fire end, please.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right, Tony Catriano, one of the captains. Rough tournament so far, haven't won a game. Is this the place where you break that dug egg?
Well, we very much hope so. But we know we're facing a really quality opposition, so we've got to be on our game from the start. Plenty of pressure, and we've got to look after the disc.
And what's gone wrong for Juggernaut this tournament?
Those two things I mentioned, we probably haven't pressured around the disc enough, and we don't have it, and when we do have it, we've probably just thrown it away a bit too much and given it back to teams. And you get punished at this level for that. We need to fix that.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Good luck, lads. Aidan McCabe, captain of Krank. Mate, you've done pretty well to get here. You need another victory, though, to get into the semis, or the quarters, rather. What do you think the secret is to beat this Juggernaut team?
We do. We know they always come with a lot of energy. So I think it's about just coming out positively, playing our own game and getting on top early so we can really dictate terms from there.
And what do you think identifies Krank's game?
We've got a big squad. We've got a lot of youth, a lot of energy. So I guess just trusting ourselves, belief in ourselves, and yeah, just having a bit of fun.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck for the match. We'll go to a quick video and then we'll be back with your commentators for this match.
What is spirit of the game?
It's knowing the rules and when they apply.
It's avoiding body contact wherever possible.
It's keeping a positive attitude and enjoying the sport.
It's being fair-minded even when the game is on the line.
It's communicating respectfully with your opponent.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final match of the day. It is the open pool play. This match is going to be important in the context of the pool. We have the Melbourne Juggernaut playing the Wollongong Krank. My name is Daniel Clinton, and I'm joined by this superb Sarah Perkins. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, happy to be here.
So this is going to be a great game. Tell us a little bit about the Melbourne Juggernaut.
Well, coming from Melbourne, so got a few oldies on the team, also a few young ones as well. Lots of depth in the team. A few Australian representatives across the board, both from the under-24s and the open division. So it should be an exciting game, and let's see what happens.
And as we move to this Wollongong Krank team as well, a really interesting squad. Probably the main name that pops out there is Tim Booth, who's been playing forever.
Absolutely. Everybody knows who Tim Booth is in the ultimate community, and still here, and he's seems to be mentoring a lot of the young people in the Wollongong and the Krank area, and really doing a lot for ultimate down there. So good, really exciting to see him here, and also Jonathan Keys being one of those key players both for Krank and also one of the young ones coming through, probably ready to take Tim Booth's spot, I think.
Yeah, Jono Keys, super talent out of Wollongong, and this Wollongong team has been developing at a great rate of knots over the last couple of years. We're now seeing them turn in, a pretty good tournament. Probably not gone exactly the way they wanted to. At the moment, they're staring at not making the quarters. You would think that maybe they'd be good enough, and if they want to become a top-level team in Australian Ultimate, they need to make that quarters. it's really the mark of the teams that have it and the teams that don't have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Krank will be, I think, really disappointed if they don't make that quarterfinal spot. As you said, they've been doing a lot of development and they've seen a lot of growth, both in the open division and in the women's division as well. So it would be really good to see them in the quarterfinals here. I think they're always one of those teams that expect the unexpected. They're always ready for an upset, so I don't think ever count them out. So it'd be good to see what they can pull out here against Melbourne today.
Both teams just completing their warm-up. Sarah Perkins, as quite the accomplished player yourself, many Nationals caps and a Firetails cap in there as well, I believe.
Yeah, so I have been lucky enough to represent Australia a number of times. Was lucky enough to play at the Asian Oceanic Championships with the Firetails and got picked on the Barramundis for the Open Worlds, which unfortunately due to COVID didn't go ahead, which definitely was disappointing. But it's good to see Ultimate back up and running both in Australia and overseas. So it should be exciting to see how these players go. Obviously World Games coming up very soon, which should be exciting to watch. And I'm sure Australia will want to be doing very well at that event. And then coming up soon we'll have next year the relaunch of a lot of the international tournaments. So I'm sure there's a lot of players here that whilst it's not international, they'll be looking to get on the radar of some of the international selectors and coaches.
Well, your expertise is much appreciated. I'm going to be picking your brain throughout this match as we see Wollongong circling it up, their final instructions. What do you think is going to be the key for Wollongong in this match, Sarah?
I think just not taking risky options. I think there's always the trend to kind of go big and bold, and it's exciting, especially when you're on film as well, to go for those big plays. But I think if they can maintain their cool and calm, collected manner, I think they'll do really well here. And then just maintaining control of the disc, maintaining possession, and then just trying to put some pressure on some of Melbourne's throwers in particular. The wind's picking up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as the game progresses with the weather. We've seen a lot of rain today, so the ground's nice and wet. So might see some slippery discs, some slips and falls, maybe some huge layouts as well, which would be really exciting to watch.
And what about for Juggernaut? If it's all about cool, calm and collected, is Juggernaut perhaps, do they need to just create a bit of mayhem?
I think so. They've certainly got the players in there to be able to create some chaos, and I think they probably thrive under that a bit more than what Wollongong does. So I think they'll definitely be looking to stir the pot a bit and put Krank in a bit of a position they don't want to play.
If there was ever a team that personified stirring the pot, I think it would be a men's or an opens team rather from the Heads of State Club.
Absolutely.
Juggernaut. Some notable omissions and some notable outs for this game. We actually see Sebastian Barr with his right calf strapped. It doesn't look like he's going to take part. And also Lachlan Wise, he contracted COVID last week and is still feeling the effects of that. So two big names that are going to be missing for this Juggernaut team.
Yeah, absolutely. Both Australian representatives, so that's a big loss there for Juggernaut.
But at Nationals, it is all about how you adapt and overcome. This is a long tournament, 4 days of hard frisbee against the best teams in the country. There is nowhere to hide, especially not when you're on the live stream.
Absolutely. Everyone will be watching every move, and I think could be a good option for those players to sit out if they can try and get the win today and make it into that top bracket. That risk of them not playing today could pay off, and they could be able to be nearly up to a full strength team by the time we get to that top 8.
Just saw Andrew Moroney there sporting the thrower's gloves. We'll see if that can help, Andy.
Bit of extra grip with the slippery conditions.
Are you a fan of the throwing glove, Sarah? Or
Look, I've never worn it myself, but I can definitely see the appeal. There was plenty of times that I wish I had a bit of extra grip when, especially trying to throw those long forehands when it's a quick release as well. So I have to give it a go, I think, with this wet weather that seems to be hanging around in New South Wales in particular. Could be a handy option to look at.
So Wollongong will run left to right on your screen. They're in the bright red. Juggernaut will play in their white. And to pull it will be Matt Lavis for Krank. A little bit slow to get started in this match. 3 minutes already gone, but the 100-minute time cap will allow us plenty of time to figure this one out. Who's going to win here? And that pull is outside in, and it will land. Cullen will pick it up and center it to Wilson. Lachlan McDonald gets involved. Casciano. Lucien Liu. Back to Casciano. Wollongong settling into a transition. You hear the count as they look to slow down the offense of the Juggernaut. Lucien Liu decides not to throw the long one. And then the low release backhand goes out to Wilson. And then Jake Wilson, Casciano somehow found himself all the way free. Blown coverage. Kevin Dang is left in the dust of the streaming Tony Casciano.
Yeah, interesting decision by Juggernaut there to start off with that kind of play, setting up a bit differently. Krank setting up with the zone though to start with and then transitioning out of it. We'll see if that works and see if they pull it out again, but didn't seem to stop Juggernaut there.
And we see a lot of that transition defense at this level where teams will play a bit softer for the first few passes. What is the purpose of that, to play soft and then become accountable after?
Yeah, so I guess the whole point of that is to slow down the movement of the disc at first, stop those long throws going up in quick movement, and then once the disc is kind of settled, then it's time to close down and stop and put a bit more pressure on the throw. So a lot of the time off the pool, people will want to run and gun and start moving the disc very quickly, and a transition zone certainly stops the opposition from doing that.
Okay, so we'll see what Juggernaut bring. Tom Della to pull. And Krank will go on offense, led ably by John O'Keefe, who gets us underway. And Ferguson. There will be a bit of a zone from Juggernaut. Through hands it goes to McCabe, who comes back this way. Ferguson. And then a nice breaking throw from Fulford all the way out to Jack Gray. We'll probably be calling his name a little bit in this game. McCabe. Krank having no problems whatsoever. They're on the doorstep. Maguire, it will be not jumped in. He's on the doorstep is Sharma. Looking, wants a reset of some description. It's a wobbler, but it's fine. It'll work out. Jack Gray for the score. Krank are on the board, 1-1.
Just what we wanted to see from Krank. As we said, we wanted to see them play some cool, calm offense, take the easy option, and 100%, that's exactly what they've just done there.
Well, this game has started on serve. At the top level, Sarah, how important are breaks and then holding your offense?
I think it's at this level, it becomes almost an expectation for the offense to hold their offensive points and to make sure they score. So when you do get a turnover, it's so important not to turn the disc over again, because the chances of you getting it back are very small. The players at this level, their baseline skills are outstanding. So once you do get that break, it's hard to get back, especially if you go down start going down a few breaks. The pressure starts mounting every single time you get the disc. You know you can't throw that disc away.
And pressure is an important part of all sports, and Ultimate is no different in that respect. And when it comes down to it, it's who can do what they've practiced all season the best. Matt Lavis again pulling. Lucien Lee. And then Wilson. Very deep at the moment at Juggernaut. The switch is on from Krank. It's a high one dealt well with by McDonald. They're away on the break side through the hands of Calaviotis. And now Hendrickson goes back to Wilson. McDonald, a massive layout block. Matt Lavis smiling as he gets up. He knows he gave one to McDonald right there.
That was an outstanding defensive move there.
Tim Booth, oh, it's going to go back the other way, is it? There's no call. Lucien Lee. Well, a one possession opportunity for Krank. They give back the disc after an excellent defensive play by Matt Lavis. Lucien Lee gets it back. Wilson goes in the middle to Henriksen. Wilson resetting the stall. They're very deep at Juggernaut. Castriano slides to his knees to gather that one in. Calaviotis sporting the skins and the backwards hat. Wilson is face marked. Calaviotis works it out eventually that Wilson just wanted the thrower-initiated throw. Henriksen has been getting involved. Wilson now driving the offense as a handler. He's going to go around with a flat one. Castriano, huge! It's enormous by Tim Booth. He's just wound the clock back 2 decades to get to that one.
That is an impressive
he's
act of athleticism right there from Tim Booth.
He has jumped in his time machine, wound the clock back to 2002, and launched himself into the Nelson Bay sky.
You will not see a better layout block than that right there from Tim Booth.
He's favouring his shoulder. He's come down hard. That's an enormous play.
It's unbelievable.
We're going to look at it again. Wilson hanging it out there. You know, Wilson's almost said, you know what, Tim Booth, I don't reckon you can. And Tim Booth says, you know what, young man, I reckon I can. Watch me fly.
Joe Watt, against most other players, that throw will probably come off, but you can't let anything past Tim Booth.
Keys is going to sub on. And Keys will go to work. That excellent punchy throwing style that he has. He gets free of Castriano. And Keys with the frisbee. He centers to Kevin Dang. It will be Keys who settles back. He's going to step into it. He's going to reach with a flat outside in that Wilson gets to first.
Both teams here setting very deep in their formations there, making it quite hard for the thrower to get an easy throw off, but does create a lot of space for those people to downfield to run into.
Wilson brings it to the goal line. Calaviotis rolls off the front of the stack and gets the Juggernaut offense underway. Wilson gets up the line. Oh, he dropped it cold. Caught in two minds whether to bid or stay on his feet. He elects to go stay on his feet and drops it. So Keys past halfway, not far to go, well within his range. Dang comes into the lane. High release flick. They're working down that far sideline. Arms looking for Keys. Keys is covered well. Nichols gets involved to keep the offense rolling. And Upton to bidding Matt Lavis. It's another turnover. They give up Tim Booth's hard work as Wilson goes to Castriano. There's a poach in the lane, and then Castriano is going to find the free player, Henriksen. There does seem to be a call, though. So the frisbee will come back.
Looks like it might have been a foul potentially on the throw, maybe a pick.
Well, your guess is as good as mine. There is a pick call, according to the sideline here, who are conveying the arm signals and the hand signals. Castriano with an outside in. Lee, Castriano, or Calaviotis rather. Calaviotis is going to huck it. He's going to Jake Wilson. Wilson tries to work Angus Jones under the disc, and he has none of it, gets the block. Well, this is only the third point of the game, and it's going both ways, coast to coast at the moment.
Talking about the importance of holding on to the disc here. Both teams seem to be happy to throw a few sketchy options, see what they can get. I'm sure Krank will be wanting to bring it back to how they played in that first point.
Keys. Oh, he's thrown a big outside in, it'll float. Henriksen will go up, big, Will Henriksen. It seems like at the moment Krank are playing into the Juggernaut game plan of mayhem and chaos. Wilson will pick it up. Juggernaut, another offensive opportunity for them. Lachlan McDonald. McDonald looking, gets the break to Caliviotis. Lee. Henriksen, the block getter. He breaks back to the middle. White's going to send it out to Caliviotis. They're going to score that one. Finally, after what felt like a very long time. That's the third point of the match. Juggernaut second.
Yeah, much cleaner offense there from Juggernaut right at the end. I think Krank will be fairly disappointed with how many breakthroughs came off in that point. Not even just in that last passage of play there, but the whole point.
And just some impressive defensive plays both ways.
Two huge layouts.
It's what we came to see anyway. The coach of either team probably not impressed with some of the options that have created it. There is an old saying in Ultimate that every good layout on the other end is a fairly speculative throw.
Absolutely. Certainly makes for some entertaining viewing though.
And we're here for it, here on KO Freebies. Make sure that you're send it to your friends and get the people involved. Ultimate Frisbee, it's taking off in Australia.
Huge sport, up and coming. Keep your eyes peeled for it. There'll be a lot more to come.
Della sporting the bleach blonde hairdo. Puts up a pull. We'll come back to Della's hairstyle and how that eventuated. Keys is going to take this. And Williams has pulled the match up for Juggernaut. Oh, the throw is way away to the left of Fulford, who drops it. And Juggernaut get another opportunity. If they could go up 3-1 here, that could be a big thing. As Dylan Taylor gets it to Della. Della has a travel called on him and he kind of saunters back to his mark. And the break. Ballman on the doorstep. Now goes back to the left-hand side. And Williams back to J-Rod, as they call him, Jared Cowan. There is a call in the stack. So Jake Williams is going to have this. Oh, just a slight discussion on who was where and what the count was on. So Williams has a bit of a fake and now engages Cowan to try and get the reset. He goes around with a break that's high. Della rises and catches well. And then he comes back with a blading flick to Adam Bullman for the score. Juggernaut are up 3-1, Sarah.
Oh, no need to panic yet, Krank. You've still got plenty of time in the context of the game. But this is exactly where Juggernaut wanted Krank. Causing chaos there.
Meanwhile, Juggernaut are definitely saying, yeah, panic. Bit of chaos, a bit of mayhem. Let's go. Let's make it ugly. And well, it was John O'Keefe who really missed the receiver on that throw, that under open side forehand. Really a rudimentary throw for an Ultimate Frisbee player, isn't it?
Yeah, look, when it seems to be, it's always the really difficult throws that the good players can get off, and maybe it was a little bit too relaxed there, O'Keefe, on the reset, but I'm sure he'll be disappointed with himself for that.
Because throwing a catchable pass is often quite a underappreciated skill, I would say. What do you think is the best way to throw a catchable disc?
I think trying to hit it into the space that they're running into is always the best option there. You're either throwing it into their space or straight to their chest, and then you're giving the receiver the best chance they get of being able to catch that and to complete the play.
So Krank go to work again, but oh no, it's a poach block. It is a disaster in the making. Dylan Taylor, Maroney likes it. He throws it, he points to the sky and walks off the field. A bit of sauce from Andy Maroney, and 4-1 is the score. Oh, that is not great. It's not great.
I think the
Sarah.
panic's starting to set in for Krank. They're certainly feeling the pressure. We knew it was going to happen. We knew Juggernaut was going to come out, throw some spice around, see what they could do to throw a bit of a spanner in the works with Krank, and they sure have done that.
It was Jaden Ferguson who never saw Dylan Taylor. And Maroney hasn't even worried about Taylor catching it.
Straight to the sky there. He knew that was in.
Timeout is called. We're going to go. We need to see some of these plays again. I want to go back to that Tim Booth block. And what Wilson was seeing was he was a little bit screened by the stack.
Yeah.
With players in the way, how do you read the defense and understand where the throw needs to go to?
I think it's about seeing the positioning of where your offensive player is. So if they're sitting a bit deeper of the defensive player, maybe you want to use a bit more outside in, get it out in front, let your player run onto it, or come back under if they're underneath. We're seeing a live spirit score that they've got running there.
We'll come back to that because it is... It's a state a fairly unique in Australian Ultimate. Sarah, there's a reputation, shall we say,
Yes.
that they do their best, and they do it in their own way. I was speaking to Andy Maroney about the live spirit score, and he mentioned how sometimes when a game doesn't go your way, you get a little bit bitter.
Yep.
And he felt that this live spirit is a way of overcoming that. It actually came from the mind of Chris Calaviotis, who is actually one of the more spirited players in that club. So knowing that it was Toffa, as they call him, Calaviotis, who come up with it, you kind of understand a little bit more about what they're trying to achieve with it. And it's about, being clear in what they're thinking throughout the game. And then once the game ends, whatever's on the board goes in the spirit sheet.
I really like that idea. There's nothing worse than when you get to the end of the game, you think it's been a well-spirited game, no big discussions have been had, you've checked in with the other team, and it's already happened. We can see rules, knowledge and use. There's a 1 happening there, so we'll see how that changes throughout the game.
So there must have been something where Wollongong didn't know the rules to the satisfaction of Juggernaut, so naturally, they drop the score. We'll come back to spirit scoring and how that works. Keys with the frisbee. Keys. Oh, that punchy style. That's going to go a long way down the field. It's an excellent throw to Fulford. McCabe works in space. He can't get free of Maroney. And now Fulford all alone. He needs to come up with something. High stall. He's going to call a timeout. Oh, no. On what seemed like stall 9.5.
Oh, that's going to be a very risky move. If anyone's not aware of the statistics, most of the time, it's about 80% of the time, I think, that a turnover happens after a timeout's been called.
So we completely missed that. Maroney questioning something there. I imagine it was on the stall count, but on a timeout, what would be the maximum stall?
I believe it comes in at 8, or it could be 6. I think it's 6 for that one. So smart move there. As it gets nearly to a stall out, call a timeout, and you've got back to 6. You've got an extra 4 seconds to work with.
And
after checking the disc, you say stalling and then 9.
Okay, so it comes in maximum 8. Because
okay, I think so we hear it there. It is a maximum of 8. So, and it probably was on stall 9.5 when he called the timeout. So he's giving himself an extra 2.5 seconds. I want to see Juggernaut increase that scoreboard over there by 1 because that is some excellent rules knowledge.
That is a very smart move there from Krank. Definitely not in the favour of Juggernaut, but Juggernaut's got to give it to them. They've used the rules properly.
And it's one of those things where you have to say, hey, fair enough. That's correct. You can't argue against it, because there is no. It's not like Krank are gaining an unfair advantage here because Juggernaut get to set their defense. They know what's coming, and it's going to be pretty much an immediate throw. Fulford, he puts it into space. Juggernaut can't stand it. They can't stop it, rather.
Della looks very bitter over that one there.
It's a sheepish grin. The timeout gets Krank a score. 4-2 after 2 defensive breaks.
Important play there for Krank. They had to score that to stay in the game there.
We go back to the score, just break side option.
Throw initiated into space there.
Kalip Liu probably not standing enough around on the mark there. I think the force was forehand and he looked more straight up than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably a bit more pressure could have been put on there, but when you are so close to the end zone like that, it's very hard to cut off all the options, especially from a static start like that.
Because one of the peculiar things about a Frisbee is it does tend to move in the air, it tends to curve, so even if you're putting some sort of force on, you can bend the Frisbee in the air around into the scoring area, can't you?
Absolutely, and there's always space somewhere on the field that you can throw it into. So it's about using that to get back into putting it into an advantage for your players on the team.
So a D point now, Tim Booth, disc in hand, he will pull for the Krank D-line.
Good to see him back on the field after that incredible layout D before.
Over his long and illustrious career, he'd have some highlights, but damn, that's got to go somewhere near the top of his list. Lee to Wilson. Juggernaut will go out of the vertical. Castriano goes. Wilson flubs it a little bit out of the hand. It's going to float. Castriano settles underneath it. McCabe arrives late, or Lavis rather, arriving late to get the block. So Krank get a turn and an opportunity now. Bring this back to 4-3. That'd be really good to see. Booth goes with a big flick. Going to Dang. Dang has to beat 2. Oh, Henriksen arrives from nowhere. They posted him in from overseas and he's got a block. Castriano goes to Henriksen. Galviotis gets free. Wilson draws 2 as he cuts out Henriksen. Seeing plenty of the disc at the moment. Doesn't go for the high release. Goes inside to Castriano. Juggernaut settling into their vertical. A break throw again. Lachlan McDonald a long way over to the break side of the field. He's just going to break the mark. Can he bring it in? It looks like he was in. He's going to get called out. All right, that's ambitious.
Ooh, we'll see what happens with this one. Game advisors might get involved with this.
Drew Wiseman on the call.
It's hard to see here. It's a close one. It's very close to the line.
So our replay here, it looks pretty in to us.
Looks in from looking at the field in.
They're going to figure it out.
I didn't have a perspective because your team captain was in my way.
So Mark Fulford has just delivered the message to Drew Wiseman that, at least based on our replay, it looked in. And
certainly worth a look at.
Yeah, it being a self-refereed sport, instead of it being the referee who goes under the hood, checks the VAR, the players can come over and have a look at the replay and potentially give that perspective to someone on the field.
Yeah, and as you heard, they looked into the game advisor. They asked the game advisor there, Steve, for perspective, but unfortunately there was a player right in front of him there, so he wasn't able to give his perspective on the matter. So luckily we had a bit of footage here.
We'll come back to the play. McDonald just, I imagine he was looking for Wilson. Wilson lets it fly, and then it was Cullen at the back.
Great awareness there of the sideline to keep that in.
Della to pull for Juggernaut. They're up 5-2 in this match. Score is still 10 for Spirit at the moment. It's a fascinating addition. Maybe we should have our own Spirit scores and be judging the teams. Maybe that wouldn't work as Ferguson goes back to Keys, who lost ground on that. They now go to Maguire. Oh, that is a clanger.
Absolute clanger there. Juggernaut will be looking to put another one on the board and
That's
stretch the
6-2.
lead out.
6-2, that's a problem. Cowan walks to the disc. He's going to have a look. Della, front of the stack. Can't get it. Cowan all coming this way. It's now Dylan Taylor. Cowan goes in front of the bidding defender. It's a goal for the Juggernaut. Della likes it. 6-2 the score. Well, we wanted chaos. We wanted mayhem. We've got nothing but at the moment. And Krank are looking for answers. Sarah, what do they need to change?
Krank's just crumbling a little bit under the pressure there. They're making some very basic unforced errors. I think that's the second drop in their own half that they've had, completely not under pressure at all. Disc there ready. I think they're all a little bit inside their heads a bit. They started off really strong, really comfortable with their offense, looking for the easy options. And as soon as Juggernaut got a chance at some O, it's like Krank thought they needed to change their whole game plan.
Well, to give a bit of context and perspective in this match, if Juggernaut were to go all the way and win here, that could be a huge issue when it comes to the situation. Krank, without a win, would probably drop out of the quarterfinals, and Juggernaut would have effectively ruined their tournament. Irony is probably the name of that. Fulford having a look. He wants something. And now the around. Kobe Ryan all the way out. Gibson goes with Keys. Keys looking for the around. A nice float around in front of Ferguson. Ferguson spreading the field all the way to Aidan McCabe. Jack Gray can't get free. Fulford comes under. He can't get free either. The reset is there. Back to Ferguson. And Ferguson trying to look past the poach of Dylan Taylor. McCabe. And now a nice undercut. Callum Faulkner getting involved. He goes fast back to Ferguson. And Ferguson, he's going to go all the way. What a throw that is. That looks pretty good. It's Faulkner. He likes it. He knows what it means. 6-3, and the young man gives the dance.
Craig seems like they're fired up from that. So impressive after having a few not so great possessions in a row to come out, gain some composure. And just what patience, just swinging it back and forth across the field, waiting for the right opportunity to take a shot downfield.
I wonder if he's single with moves like that. Great throw by Ferguson. Just doing exactly what he needs to do. And Moroney a long way off the pace.
See a replay of the dance moves there.
Andrew Moroney is bemused, shall we say. I must ask Moroney what he uses for a shampoo. His locks are looking very fluffy at the moment.
Today, yeah.
Very. It's got a good flow in the breeze. So Matt Lavis to pull. I believe Lavis is some relation to Chris and Tim Lavis of Newcastle, a cousin of some description, I think. Henriksen for Juggernaut, out of the horizontal rather. Casciano gets the under, and then he's going to go with a big flick. He's looking for McDonald. McDonald's got it. Well, Casciano reaching all the way down the field. That's the 7th. McDonald is going to celebrate it. I don't know, I prefer the moves of Faulkner, I think.
Competition's on. Let's see what the moves are after the next point.
As a player, what was your favourite celebration, Sarah?
Oh, I'm definitely a bit more low-key. I'm good for the, if you're fired up, hitting the disc down and running off afterwards, cheering, but haven't so much engaged in these antics, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Antics is something that we're never short of when the Heads of State Club plays.
Absolutely not.
A timeout looks to be called. We're going to take a bit of a breather here. Energy come down a moment. Juggernaut, if they score the next point, they take half. How important is it to take half in a game of Ultimate?
It just sets up the momentum for the rest of the game. When you know you've gone down, especially with the deficit that's currently happening here with Krank, when you know you've taken half, half the job's done. But there's always the second half, and how many times have we seen teams come back from similar deficits like this after half? But it definitely puts some momentum into the game. You know what you're doing is working, and you can keep flowing on.
So I want to talk a little bit about the scoring of Spirit, Sarah.
Yeah.
So it's not a 0 is bad, 10 is good, is it?
No. So 2 for any category is good. That's
where
great.
you should be,
That's
right?
where you absolutely should be.
So if you score 10 on Spirit, that's ideally where you should be.
That's fantastic. So I think so it's scored out of 20, and 10 is a good Spirit score. So you can score up or down in each of the 5 categories based on what's happened during the game. So if someone's rules, knowledge and use was really good, you might give them a 3, for example. But you need to be able to back that up. You need to have specific examples of where rules, knowledge and use was really good in the game. And same with all the other categories. If you drop down to a 1, you need to have a specific example. It's just a good way to keep people accountable. And when you have a 10, it's great. That's what you want.
And sometimes in past iterations, the scoring of Spirit was hard to figure out.
Yep.
As the sport has grown and evolved, and we've come into this new system of 5 categories, score up, score down, we've seen a much fairer way, I think, of scoring Spirit with less emotion, especially in those highly emotional and heavily charged matches. Keys is going to take this on. Kobe Ryan goes out. He did have a step. Della was lurking over the top, helping Declan Frey with the defense. Ferguson, he threw that long goal before the reset, through the hands of McCabe to Keys, all the way out to Kobe Ryan. Ryan, who's a pretty flashy talent. He looks good out there. Fulford, who's seen plenty of it, goes to break Cowan. He can't get it off. Comes to Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan is going to go with a real flat flick. Kobe Ryan. Oh, he's got wheels and speed for days. He likes it. That's the 4th point for Krank.
Such an important point there for Krank, keeping them in the half there, making Juggernaut have to work for at least 1 more point before they can have a break at half time.
Because often in Ultimate, it's about those small moments, those little opportunities within the match. Yeah, you're down a few points now. But what about if you could score a 5th here? How would that change the complexion of the match coming in, getting that 5th versus going down this score here if Juggernaut were to get their 8th?
I think if they can get 1 more, it just puts them in touching distance of Juggernaut. And I think coming out of half, Krank will feel like they're definitely still in this game. Not saying that even if they don't win this point, they're not. But I think just in their mentality going into it, it's a bit less frantic, a bit more settled. They know if they can just put away a couple of points, they'll be back on even with Juggernaut.
We're playing at a pretty quick pace at the moment. 36 minutes gone. We're nearly at halftime. You'd anticipate that halftime to come around the 50th minute if you're on pace for points per minute. Lavis. He exploded early. Got a couple of blocks. Pulling again. Catch a bit of the wind. It'll come down flat. Lee settles under it. Wilson. McDonald with a big wild forehand fake. He was never going to throw it. White has a call, travel called. He makes up his ground twice. White still with the frisbee. Oh, Lee just in front of Dang.
Looks like there's a call downfield now.
I don't know how Dang didn't get that. He has thrown everything, the kitchen sink, the snood, the hat, and the fluoro boots at it. Oh, that is
millimetres away from that disc there.
Very close, and Lucien Lee has done an excellent job catching that in front of the flying Dang. Lee goes back to Wilson. There is a call.
Another call there.
Seems to be a push on Thomas Rowe. So we will reset Thomas Rowe is saying that you pushed me, I want the foul, but you keep the frisbee because I don't think I would have got it.
Yeah.
Which is actually pretty fair-minded of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And entitled to call a foul. Henriksen now. Wilson trying to get free. Oh, the high release flick by Henriksen. That's a bit dirty. McDonald rising up into the sky, looking for the inside break. Calaviotis is out there all by himself. There's a pick.
Juggernaut players having to quickly dash back off the field. They thought they'd taken half there.
That's the funny thing about Calaviotis. Sometimes he does score goals like that where he just seems to be the only man out there. This time, however, it was a pick. And McDonald will have another opportunity at this. Juggernaut work out of their vertical. Oh, they've miscued that.
Looks like there's going to be another call. Bit of a discussion happening about it.
So if that is a pick, Sarah, what should happen?
Well, it all depends on whether or not the receiver feel like it affected the play. So if the pick affected the play, it'll be able to go back to the thrower. But if it didn't, then it'll be a turnover.
So I think McDonald is saying it affected his throw.
Must have been called just as he went to release the disc.
He's tried to maybe hold on to it.
Yeah.
That's an odd one. We're, of course, are only guessing. McDonald goes for Wilson. Wilson gets them back on the way. Juggernaut. Now with Dominator movement. McDonald combining with Wilson. Can't get it to him. Now the throw is there. McDonald getting up the line. The Dominator is on, but it's being held and stopped well by Krank. Lee.
Lots of picks happening in this game so far.
Being the last game on day 2, picks tend to increase with tiredness as the cuts get a little bit shorter or the legs get a little bit heavier.
Bit sloppier.
Wilson breaking. Calaviotis rises. Wilson out of the vertical go Juggernaut. That's a hot one. It's a real spicy one. And it's a spicy meatball that Tony Castriano catches.
That's a fantastic breakthrough, threading the needle through 3 or 4 players there. And Juggernaut take half.
Well, half-time it is. Juggernaut, the game is well and truly in their hands at the moment. They have come out and surprised Krank. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with the second half of this Opens pool play match. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we head back into the second half now of this men's pool play match. My name is Daniel Clinton. I'm joined by the super Sarah Perkins. Sarah, what would you change heading into the second half? What do Krank need to do here?
Look, I think Krank just need to keep their cool a bit. They're getting a bit rattled, a bit drawn into the mayhem that is Juggernaut, the craziness, their energy. Krank just needs to settle down a bit. But in saying that, they do have Krank's pulled out some absolutely outstanding defensive plays. So it's not about getting blocks for them. They're clearly getting it. It's about holding on to the disc.
Yeah, the unstoppable rolling circus that tends to be this Juggernaut team sometimes.
Sure is.
Tom Della actually ended up with blonde locks after getting COVID, ending up isolating, and him and his housemates, they got a box to die and
got a bit bored.
Yeah, a couple of hours later he said I was blonde. Highly entertaining though. Ferguson now. Juggernaut go back to that match defense. They're going to try and get a block here. Gray. Oh, Liu thinking about it just for a moment. Sharma catches it through the hands of Aiden McCabe, the captain, dropping the frisbee. Della. Oh, cops a bit of a chop in the back there from Jack Gray.
Foul going uncontested this time. Della with the hand signals, letting us know what's happening on the field.
So the disc will come in on stall one. Gray taps it in. Della gets it to Adam Bullman. Oh, the reset, a face ball to Jared Cowan. Cowan. Well, he sends that into the car park. It's hanging on the finger a little bit.
Just needed some gloves.
Some gloves indeed. We'll see if there's a company out there that wants to
sponsorship coming right there.
Sponsor Jared Cowan. Don't flub the disc ever again. Gloves by Jared Cowan. Kobe Ryan having a look. Hat backwards. Wants to reset. The trap is on though by Juggernaut. The high release flick. It's going to ask a lot of Keys. He settles underneath it and does fine. Calm and collected on the disc is Keys. Ferguson looking downfield. The stall count's going to get high, and then he's going to go short to Keys. There is a poach player on this sideline. Keys finds him with the disc. Fulford now to Sharma. Sharma laying out. He's dropped it. Oh, that is a heartbreaker. Sharma had it in the end zone.
I think he thought he was further away from it than what he actually was. The disc was turning back into him.
Yeah, it ended up being very close to him.
Yeah.
So Taylor will go into the middle of the field. And Lim. Caleb Liu. Liu with the big lefty. He's going to send it to Della, who's going to have to work against Jack Gray. And Della. Well, Della had it. He was over the top of the much bigger man. And Gray is down and perhaps hurt. Hopefully he's okay. Looks dusty getting up.
Della should have held on to that one there. It was in his hand.
Well, it's an excellent read by Della. He has just outread Jack Gray there.
Just needed to put the finishing touch on that grab there.
Drew Wiseman will replace the injured Gray. The disc is tapped in. The turn will stand. Krank will get another opportunity. They're going to settle into a horizontal offense. Keys to pick it up. And now they go to work. Keys immediately with a backhand. He's looking for McCabe. It looks pretty good, but Liu is not going to catch it. Oh, that one nearly backfired.
Gotta catch your D's. Gotta catch your D's.
It nearly backfired on Caleb Liu. Declan Frey goes back to Dylan Taylor. Jared Cowan now. He does better with that one. Bullman in a lot of space. Declan Frey getting the offense going. Juggernaut. They're away. Dylan Taylor has to beat two. Sharma with a massive bid, but Taylor gets it in front of him. What a catch by Dylan Taylor. Oh, that was a matchup. That's a battle.
Sharma trying to make up for the fumble down the other end. Was millimetres away from that D there.
Oh, he's gone big. Has Arun Sharma absolutely launched himself.
You could see what was happening all the way down the field. You knew that throw was coming off.
Just the Della drop. Big throw by Keys, but well read by Liu. He really should have caught the first one. It nearly backfired on him.
Made his life a little bit hard there, and here we go.
And yeah, Dylan Taylor just out in front of the bidding. Arun Sharma. Oh, he's so close there. He's nearly got that. But it's not to be. Juggernaut now with their 9th goal. That's a break out of half, Sarah.
It's another one on the board for them. They're inching closer, inching closer. Krank's got a lot of work to do now.
5 points adrift in this game. A potential 4-way tie, and Bullman to pull. And that's pretty good from Adam Bullman. It's going to float nicely. Ferguson catches. And Krank. Keys deciding to get down the field. Moroney poaches onto him to stop the easy under. Fulford. Some tight defense being played by Juggernaut down the field. Keys in his own end zone. Fulford, middle of the field. Ryan puts a foot in the ground, makes a move, catches that one. Oh, that's an ugly bid there by Liu. Looks like that might be a dislocated shoulder.
Looks like he's in a lot of pain there. Wasn't a great bid there.
Carla Liu is making a bid on that from a really awkward position.
Yeah, was never going to be able to get that cleanly there. Coming in from behind.
Just see as he goes to ground there. Might not be his shoulder. In a lot of pain though.
Yep.
I hope he's okay. Play will stop for the moment until the player's okay. There will be a timeout while they figure this out. We're going to go to some replays. We're going to talk about some stuff, some things. Sarah, what do you think Juggernaut are doing well in this game? Oh, a small Wollongong supporter.
Starting him young.
That's outstanding. When did you start playing Ultimate?
I started playing at uni. So I started at Sydney University with Sufa there in, I would have been 2013. Yeah, started with uni games as many Ultimate players do. Into the uni scene, and then yeah, just kind of went from there. Played my first nationals the next year. Started off with Sugar Mags in Newcastle, and then eventually moved over to Rogue from the Sydney teams.
And just this season gone, competed with Hills in Division 2, deciding to come back down to Div 2 for a little bit. I imagine the girls would have been thrilled to have you in the tournament.
Yeah, it was a really great experience. Obviously, I definitely missed playing in that Div 1 and with my Rogue girls this year. But yeah, no, it was a good ease back into it. I'm sure, like lots of people, COVID it didn't do as much exercise and frisbee as what could have been done coming back from an injury as well. Unfortunate break of the ankle in 2020, so slowly coming back from that, so it was good to be able to ease back into it.
It looks like Ferguson is making his way very gingerly off the field.
I think it's definitely that shoulder there by the looks of things.
Yeah, he's not in a good way at the moment. It's actually his right shoulder, the one that had the disc as he was going to ground.
Yeah. Trying to hold on to the disc there, and a lot of force went through his shoulder there.
That is something that can happen when laying out the orientation of the shoulder and the elbow. Generally, if you're palm up, it's a bad situation to be in as the elbow points down into the ground, which I think is the situation that would happen there. Generally, when you're laying out, the way to do it is palms down, which clears the elbow out of the way, and you don't, dislocate an elbow or do
definitely
something.
More comfortable.
Not that flying through the air and then hitting the ground can be exactly comfortable. Maybe for some of the tougher members out there. Ryan finds McCabe. McCabe with a real flat one. He doesn't like it. McCabe not having the greatest game at the moment. A drop. And now Throw away. But Juggernaut, they're getting a gift at the moment. Lim. He's got the frisbee. Henriksen. Henriksen with the frisbee. Maroney makes the stationary duck cut. Can't get past the very, very agile James Maguire, who he's matched up on. He's going to call foul, is Andy Maroney. It will be uncontested. So Maguire agreeing. And a bit of a face mark by Maguire. So we'll see if Henriksen works out and goes throw initiated. He goes with a high release to Lim. A breaking throw to Liu. Kobe Ryan will benefit and daintily punches that one to the ground.
Another good opportunity here for Krank to get one back on the board.
They really can't give up this one now. They need this 5th goal. Keys. Clearing cut. Cowan comes and poaches. Keys with a blading forehand. That's creative. Opening up the field potentially for Wollongong, but there's nothing down the field, so they have to reset it. Go sideways, Fulford. Still looking. Wiseman can't get it. It's Keys who's filling in. And now McCabe. Maguire comes under. Keys up the line on Liu. Sets his pivot, and then he throws it to the fat side. A throw that'll float Borman. It's all Adam Borman getting the block. Juggernaut now again. Oh, Maguire gets in front of Henriksen. Just when you thought maybe the life was dying, it's not, that's for sure. Keys. They're going to have to dig deep now. Long point. Keys with a high stall situation. What is that? It's a block.
If you ever wanted a definition of a pack grab, that'll be it.
There is going to be a foul call. Maguire is gesturing foul uncontested. Keys with a high stall speculator. Puts it in hopes. Henriksen actually got that. I'm looking for the foul. Maybe it was before the fly by Henriksen that Maguire got contacted and is calling the contact on.
There was always going to be contact there. Not sure who really fouled the other person, to be honest. There was a lot of bodies. There was a lot of contact there.
Yeah, I was trying to take off and I couldn't. I was just cleaned up.
From my perspective, it definitely was. Just went up. A lot of people came to it. I wasn't too sure about who maybe had position. It's probably maybe best to leave it a contest.
So it looks like a resolution has been found there. They'll figure that out. It'll go back to Keys.
Sure, Keys will be happy to replay that point again.
Yeah, it looks like actually there was a call on the mark as well, so a contested stall out. Keys with the disc will come in on 8. He won't have long. There it is. Keys throws a flat one right on the edge of the end zone. Oh, Maroney sends it back from whence it came. Rejected at the rim. Cowan picks it up. And now Liu is going to bend one around to Borman. And Adam Borman's going to huck it. He's going to send it to Lim. Lim! No! It's too far for Adrian Lim. Keys just runs it, and he's going to have a travel called on him by Adrian Lim. And Maroney's shaking his head no. I'm not sure if it's no, that was definitely a travel, or no, Adrian, retract your call.
I think it was a no, retract your call there. Adrian Lim having to make up the meters there to get back.
I mean, we can slow it down frame by frame, but I don't think it changes much. They leave the disc where it is. Wiseman, Fulford, now Kobe Ryan. Ryan really needs to lift here and start to bring his team back into this. The shorter pass, Fulford, who's been having a good game. Keys, he opens it up. He sends it all the way down. It floats over the top of Henriksen.
Misread there from Henriksen.
Maguire Ryan is all kinds of free. Maguire can't get it to him. The short pass to Fletcher. McCabe, they're at a standstill. The outside in. Oh, he asks a lot of him. It digs in the ground. It's a goal.
Not the prettiest of grabs, but it gets the job done there.
Well, by hook or by crook, they've done it. They've scored the 5th after what felt like a very, very long time. That brings us to 9:05, 1 hour gone on the clock.
Wollongong sticking with their horizontal formation there. Seems to be being a lot more successful for them, creating a lot more space downfield in comparison to the vertical that they were looking at before.
Just quite a few blocks in that point, going both ways.
Moroney with the basketball style rejection there.
Okay, that was a much better throw.
That one will hurt.
Knees digging in and ends up on his face. There's a saying, the grass burn on the forehead will fade. That glory of catching that point will go on forever.
Glory never will.
You'll just have a bit of a funny mark on your forehead for a few days.
Bit of scarring maybe. See how it heals.
I speak from experience. As Lavis to Paul. Juggernaut, their O-line. Lee. Wilson. Out of the horizontal. Castriano makes a move. And he's going to huck it. Oh, it's to McDonald. And Lachlan McDonald settles in a really good spot. He dropped it.
It was in the hand. Just the pressure from the defender there. Just putting it just out of it.
Well, Matt Lavis did everything he could. And McDonald had it and then dropped it.
In the fingertips.
Well, it could be the moment. Lavis. Looking, trying to get the reset. Arms gets it. There is a free player. He's all kinds of free. He's streaming down the front.
It's a floaty throw.
Oh, it's a horrible floater as Angus Jones is going to not call a foul as they get tangled.
So much space and just floated it up in the air, allowing all the defenders to chase it down.
The throw by Arms needed to be a bit flatter.
Yeah.
It floated and gave Brennan White time to get to the contest. So, Lucien Lee. Wilson. Oh, and that throw out in front. White is poached and gets away to try and clear some space. Lee to Castriano, who's found himself in an acre of space, and he's going to go again. This time to Brennan White. He's going to have to bear it out in front. Is that up?
I think that's up.
It looks like it's up.
That's in.
Callum Faulkner threw everything at it. And Brennan White comes up with it.
What a grab there.
I can't believe Brennan White got there. It looked like it had bounced.
Yeah, it was started to blade into the ground there. Just managed to scoop it up right at the end. Great to see the replay on this one.
Castiano's put up 2 throws that are pretty decent. No, that's good.
Getting 2 hands to it as well.
Yeah, no, Brennan White, a bit stiff on him there. I've called him out and said maybe he didn't get there, and well, he had plenty of pace to spare. He was walking it in.
Enjoying the celebrations.
Oh, 10-5. It's a great game. I'm enjoying this one immensely. Krank, you sense there's just something. There's just this slightest missing piece, and if they can find it, I don't think that they're that far out of it.
It definitely doesn't feel like the scoreline. It feels like it's a lot closer of a game.
Hammers Fletcher goes to John O'Keys. And Keys breaking. To Jack Ryan. Or Jack Gray, rather. And Gray goes to Keys, who moves it quickly to Fulford and then wants the dominator back to him. Gray, Keys, playing a bit of running frisbee at the moment. The man's never heard of a pivot foot and he doesn't need it. Fulford. Fulford trying to get it to McCabe. Keys drives in and away to get the reset. At the moment, Lim looks like he's been put on skates. Maguire. There is a pick call in the stack. Poor Adrian Lim is getting all that he can handle at the moment by Jono Keys.
Keys making it look so easy there.
Fulford getting the reset. Now Arun Sharma. Yeah, Keys. Keys out in space. He goes big, does the young man. That's a goal. Well, in big moments, big players step up and stand up. Keys is going to have a bit of a nap.
He must be exhausted after that one. He was all over the field there. Absolutely dominated that point there.
Adrian Lim completely gassed as well. I think there's going to be a moment of respect between Lim and Keys.
Making sure he's okay there. Just so quick on the pivot and the turn there.
I like how Keys goes early in that and bids and catches laying out rather than let that one go too much further. Bullman was in the area, so some great situational awareness there by Jono Keys.
Yeah, definitely takes out Bullman from the situation there. Gives him no chance at all.
So the Lime Spirit is still a 10 from Juggernaut.
Yeah, we've seen a few fluctuations there, the numbers. Also a,
Which is
a
how
0 and a 1 there, but it's come back up.
It's how it's supposed to work, isn't it?
Exactly.
It should react to the game, reflect the game that's being played, and at the moment it's been a pretty spirited match, you would say.
Yeah, it's been pretty good, and I think it gives the opportunity for the team to rectify any issues as well, instead of leaving it till the end and then being surprised by things that have happened.
Surprised by a low spirit score. It's happened to us all. That pull is going to be out of bounds, and Lucien Lee will come to the middle.
Signalling for the brick there, restarting from the middle of the field.
Juggernaut, this horizontal. It's been Castrogano to a long option each time. It looks like Krank have wisened up to this strategy and are going to go with a bit of a soft zone. We see Drew Wiseman playing in the lane, trying to stop that move where it goes to Castrogano and then the huck over the top. Kaliviotis to Henriksen. Juggernaut showing no problems. The zone really hasn't caught them out at all, Kaliviotis. And a low, flat throw to Lachlan McDonald. McDonald is going to go back to Wilson. This Juggernaut offense going really well. Toffa goes to knees to keep that in. Kaliviotis is going to break and he overcooks it.
Oh, Juggernaut looks so in control, not fazed by anything at all, just throwing it away right at the end there, undoing all of their hard work.
Kaliviotis knows it too.
Yeah.
He knows that he overdid that. It needed to come out of the oven 5 minutes ago. It's gone tough. It's like a boot. And Henriksen, even though he bid, he
certainly made it hard for him.
Still not there. Not even close. Wiseman will come to the front of the end zone and tap this one in. Krank now, their opportunity for their 7th. They really need this. They can't let the game go too long. Dan goes. Oh, it's a blading throw that even the speedy Dan can't get to. That's not what they needed. One throw and turn it straight back over. Drew Wiseman will want that one back.
A lot of turnovers so far this game. Juggernaut will be looking for a clean offense here. They've done a great job so far of working out at the field through this zone that they've been chucking on and then putting on that horizontal movement, same as Wollongong.
McDonald to Castrogano. And Castrogano's going to hug it. He's clearly got a job, and that's just to fling some plastic. It's going to sit, though. It's a real ugly one. It was Gabe Eadie who gets the block for Krank. Lavis went to pick it up and then thought better of it. So Wiseman is going to be the man to bring it in. And Wollongong go out of their horizontal. The outcut by Faulkner is not there. It goes to Lavis. Lavis looking. Faulkner gets the under now. Dang is deep. Dang comes under. Dang looking. It's a little bit clumpy at the moment by Krank. They're not really clear on their structure. Lavis points an inside throw to Dang. Another throwaway. Krank really shooting themselves in the foot. They're making things hard. Castrigano goes with the 1-2 to Caliviotis. Wilson. Jake Wilson is going to go with a flat one to Castrigano. And Dang bids but can't get there. That's a goal for Juggernaut. That's the 11th of the game, 11-6 now.
He's doing everything. He's throwing him. He's catching the goals now. Or Juggernaut's way at this point in time.
Oh, this is... Based on form heading into this game, you would have said that Juggernaut had no shot, or very little chance. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but 0-3, not looking particularly good here at Nationals this year. And Krank, who had a really strong Eastern Regionals, beating I-Beam, beating Fishwick, beating all these teams, come here, they're 1-2. You kind of fancy, hey, the boys in red.
It's the pressure. It's the pressure.
Goes to show that in this game of ours, you can't always predict it.
No. Juggernaut without some of their key players as well.
Maybe that was the...
Maybe that's what they needed.
to just ask Lachlan Wise and Sebastian Barr to...
Let's have a seat, guys. We've got this.
Just take the game off, lads.
Don't worry about it.
The rotation players. Tom Della to pull inside out. Pretty good. It's going to float. And it gives them a chance. One pass, and now the defense is on. Juggernaut are going to bring a bit of a zone of their own. Kobe Ryan goes with a hammer. Great looking thrower. Opening it right up. They get a couple of passes, get some meters. James Fletcher. Fletcher goes back to Fulford, who's been solid. Keys goes with a hammer. Oh, another great hammer. Wollongong happy to turn it upside down and let it fly. Fletcher, Fulford. Juggernaut transitioning into a match defense. They go in single coverage. 1-to-1 across the field. Keys gets the reset. Keys looking. And Fletcher. Cut off the front of the stack by Fulford. Kobe Ryan. Wollongong struggling really to get it moving. There's not really much momentum or flow here. The high release to Keys, who's found it, and then he's going to flow a loopy one. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good by the young Keys, finding Jack Gray out the back.
It's what Wollongong would have wanted. Back to that patient offense that's been so successful for them. Interesting choice, I think, from Juggernaut to come out in a zone, considering how successful that their match defense has been. Wollongong seemed happy to go with the overhead throws. No pressure at all on them.
For a moment, I thought that outside-in backhand was going to float by Keys, but came down quickly enough. It's a goal. 11-7, 73 gone. We're still at
plenty of time left in the
basically
game.
half an hour to play still, so it's not dead yet.
Absolutely not. Far from it. If Wollongong can keep playing like that, they'll definitely have a shot of clawing it back from Juggernaut.
But they don't want to leave it too late, do they?
No. Time is of the essence still here.
Because whether it's time, some 26 minutes, or
Yep.
4 points, they need to get on with things.
Definitely, I think they need to get this this break here. If they can get a break here, it might give them a bit of momentum. Put away 1 or 2 more. They're not going to be able to stop everything from Juggernaut.
Well, it's really only 1 or 2, and they're well and truly back in this. The palms get a little bit sweaty for Juggernaut. McDonald.
Pressure shifts.
Wilson goes dominator. Laver switches. Cullen. Lee. Seems like the offense is starting to get free and get some separation from these Wollongong defenders. Henriksen. Castrigano. Decides to throw a short one for the first time in several passes. Castrigano.
It's coming.
There is a pick call in the stack. I think something interesting about this Juggernaut offense is it's very set up quite deep. This stack normally is a metre or 2, sometimes even 4 closer.
Yep.
But the front of the stack, which is being set by Lucien Lee, is actually quite deep. It's some, 15 metres deep rather than only 10. It's creating an interesting situation where the legs of Juggernaut is what's telling at the moment. Kashigane on the near sideline. He goes to the fat side. That's a weird one. It's so weird, in fact, that Drew Wiseman is the only one who really had a chance at that.
So I think he was really going for the outside in there. I think if he managed the inside out forehand, he might have actually got a connection on the end of it, but that one just sails out the sideline.
But inside out there, Sarah, is like, how do you get the disc to the other side of the field and throw it inside out without it catching an edge in this wind?
Exactly. The wind's starting to pick up now, getting a bit gusty.
So here we go. Krank on offense. Oh, well, Jake Wilson has decided to play a bit of O for Krank.
Krank's just handed it back to Juggernaut there.
Jake Wilson has read the playbook, ripped the page out, put it in his back pocket and said, I'll keep that one for later. Cashing it in at the moment.
Just walked in that one. And then splits the two defenders with the throw.
For a moment,
goal.
It looked like Krank was just shell-shocked a little bit, like, is that legal?
Did that just happen? It was like we just watched that happen in slow-mo.
So
we watched
let's
the
have a look.
replay.
So he poaches off the defender, the receiver there, and just there's a brief moment where, we got to play defense here. Jake Wilson has had, it looked like he had a 30-second head start and had been told what was going to happen and was just playing it out ahead of time. Maybe he's Doctor Strange. He's got the time stone and he's seen all the possible
exactly
futures.
What's happened.
And only one in which Juggernaut win this game. They're looking good at the moment.
Krank really needed that opportunity there.
Hammers, Fletcher settles underneath it and catches. Keys. Go to Jack Gray. Jack Gray with a big huck. Looking for McCabe. He's going to have to beat two. It's deep. It's fading. Borman goes with height. Oh, Adam Borman rising up and over.
Looks like there might have been a call there. He certainly had his work cut out for him. 2-on-1 situation.
It looked like Borman had done real well and as clean as you like. Had got the block over the shorter McCabe.
No. I hit your hand second. That's my plan.
Yeah, no, that looks clean as you want. That's Adam Borman's block every day of the week.
I didn't get a good look at it, no.
Yeah, I'm contesting it because I think I hit the disc first and I hit his arm second.
And you would be...
unless he whacked your hand down way earlier, which I don't know how he could have done.
Bit of discussion happening here.
And I think full credit to Adam Borman. He's said exactly what happens. You watch, he climbs up there. The disc is like out of bounds. And McCabe is trying to call a foul on that. That is it's a terrible foul call. Definitely contact there, but it hasn't affected the play as Borman had already made the play. It will come back.
Wollongong getting a get out of jail free card there.
Yeah. It is what it is at the end of the day. And Jack Gray will get another opportunity at this. I don't think he'll throw that huck again because it was not at all what it needed to be. It really needed to be flat and hard to the far corner. Instead, it went outside in and floated to this near side of the field. The live spirit score, I think
we'll see if something might change on that one soon.
Yeah.
After this point.
Yeah, Adam Borman, great lad. Good teammate, actually, Adam Borman. You love to be around him, and you love him to be part of your club, that's for sure. So Gray instead comes back to Maguire. Fulford. Fulford gets a nice under to Kobe Ryan. Jack Gray getting involved. Really needs to be Gray and Ryan who lift along with Keys. They need to find another gear. Krank need them at the moment. Fulford shaking the hand off a bit. Keys, low one to Gray. Gray wants the hammer. He only wanted the hammer, and hammers. Fletcher catches.
Hang that one out to dry. We knew exactly what was going to come off in the next couple of seconds.
12-8. 80 minutes gone.
Could that be a big point there? Could that decision change the game?
All right. I'm going to ask you, Sarah, as an expert in the sport, an Australian representative, a coach, someone who's seen and played and coached plenty of Ultimate, what's the final score going to be in the game?
Oh, how long we got left? We got
20 minutes to go.
20 minutes. I'm going 15-13 to Juggernaut.
15-13 Juggernaut.
Yep.
We'll come back to that prediction. We'll see what happens. Either way, Krank not dying. They're not giving up. Excellent crossfield hammer. That's a 35-meter throw. Yeah, there was
the change there.
Yeah, and reflective of the call that was not a, well, it should never have been called, but.
Yep. A drop in the fair-mindedness section.
Lavis pulls, and that's a good one. And again, it'll give the defense opportunity to get set, one pass, and now the Krank defense is on. Wilson out to Cullen. Henriksen, who's having a good game. McDonald to Cullen. The Krank defense trying to slow down this offense. So far it's working. Wilson decides to open it up with an inside break to Tony Castriano. Wilson goes fast to Lee. Henriksen just chipping in where he's needed. Oh, and now he's going to throw a pretty terrible one. That's awkward. Lavis getting the block and then tumbling over Castriano.
Looks like he actually got a hand to that. He was nearly under it, I think.
Nope, it was the foot of Matt Lavis, who has foot blocked it some 30 metres down the field.
Looks like there's a foul call there.
I don't think this should be a call either. Doesn't think that Castriano really had a chance at that coming back to the Frisbee.
He might have had a little bit of a chance,
so
but...
I felt like I went to get it and was bumped to try and make the play. And that caused me to drop it.
I think you had a grab at it and then got bumped almost immediately at the time. That may have affected you having another grab at it, but I don't know if it bounced too far away from you.
That's well, no. So what I'm saying at the time is that's why I didn't grab it, because I got the bump.
Right.
Well,
it looked like he used his foot.
The irony is that this is almost the same situation, except it's now Matt Lavis's foot instead of Adam Bullman's arm.
Exactly.
Lavis making the play, getting the block, and then Castriano trying to get there.
Foul being contested there. We'll get to see a replay of the point.
Which, this is sometimes how Ultimate levels itself out. You know, the way the rules are written, contested throws, it's like the play never happened. It just goes back to the previous throw.
And I think both the teams here matching what kind of calls the other team's making here.
Which that's an older kind of concept that often when the bar is set, it doesn't go lower, it only goes higher in Ultimate. The heat of the game, and that's actually where the Spirit captains come from, doesn't it? That to prevent games getting out of control and the temperature only boiling up and over, a chance to reverse things. We're starting to see some results trickle in from the other games and the other fields. The quarterfinals starting to be set in the women's division. Ellipsis Ampersand will play Fuse, and the Blueberries will play Rogue. That will be an excellent matchup.
An outstanding game.
We'll come back to some more results in a moment. Cullen, as the rain starts to fall. This game has been played mostly in the dry. He's going to send it all the way out.
Oh, that's a fantastic grab. Just sat long enough for him to get under it.
Brennan White again with an excellent layout.
Delivering the goods right there.
Wow, 13-8 now the score, and Brennan White has pulled off another great catch laying out.
So rain seems to be settling in now. The wind's picking up.
I think that's probably a good question, Sarah. If you had to fight back into a game, what would you want the weather to be? Do you want it to be calm, or?
I think you want a bit of wind, because if it's calm, it then becomes very easy to hang on to the disc. I think you want to force it. You need turnovers. At the end of the day, you need the disc, and whilst, yes, it might be harder for you to score, it's also harder for the opposition, and that's giving you the best chance you've got of getting the disc back.
So in the Open division, we've got some results as well. Lipsis in the Opens will play Mammoth in a quarter. Sunder Dice will play I-Beam. And more results to come. This game here will settle some stuff. We'll see where everything is going to match up and land. Keys. Goes around. Ooh, that floating a little bit. The wind affecting that one. Oh, it's happened again.
Straight back to Juggernaut.
And Caleb Liu has pulled to Jake Wilson. He's read from the playbook and caught that one. Cowan looking. Maroney gets up the line. Andy Maroney catches the goal.
Oh,
Juggernaut
Krank.
for their 14th. And Krank now on the edge. And all they need is one solid push, and over the edge they go.
Oh, Krank are doing themselves absolutely no favours here. They are just handing the disc literally back to Juggernaut.
I don't think I've ever seen two turnovers like that. First Jake Wilson having one given to him, and now Caleb Liu gets one gift wrapped.
I think there was one in the start of the first half as well. Just straight to him.
So I just want to come back to a quick prediction. 15-13 was the final score. Sarah Perkins.
I'm not feeling great about that score now. There's still time. There's still time. Come on, Craig. Don't make me look silly here.
Ever the optimist. I believe in it. They'll need quite the run from here, though. 14-8. Juggernaut get one more. They win. And they break the duck egg. And, oh, that wouldn't be great for Krank. The pull, that one's going to drift out of bounds. And we're going to see a brick.
It's the last chance here for Krank. They've got to put this away here.
Well, it's a lot. And Keys to shoulder the heavy burden. He goes fast off Wiseman, bouncing, playing a bit of 1-2 frisbee. Wiseman into the cup of Juggernaut. Working against the zone, the wind starting to pick up. A hammer, Arun Sharma. Nice catch on the sideline by Sharma. Excellent body control. McCabe can't get it. And so Sharma now caught on the sideline. That'll float. Fulford settles underneath it.
We're going to start playing a role here.
The 8th defender, especially when you're playing zone. Keys finds it. Is it Jack Gray a long way open over the other side of the field, but that's a humongous throw from where Keys stands. It goes back to Wiseman. It takes a moment and then resets the stall. And now Fulford goes with a hammer out to McCabe. McCabe in space. It's nice just to hang on to it, let the defense adjust, and then perhaps look for something else. Fulford breaks back to Keys. And Keys with a flat one. Wiseman coming to it. Taylor, bit of a half bid, pulling out to avoid the contact. And Fulford, Wiseman, he's going to make a call. I think he's puffed more than anything. Wiseman. Keys all the way out to Jack Gray. Gray pivoting. Fulford. McCabe. Just working around at the moment. Wollongong more than happy to play against the zone defense. But whether in Wollongong can be somewhat blustery at times. Keys catches that. Frey making sure that he doesn't get in. And there's the crossfield throw to Gray.
Krank seemed very at ease there with that zone, no dramas at all. I know the wind's picked up, but maybe it's not the right option to go zone on Krank.
Very, very comfortable. I think Keys had spotted Gray lurking on that far sideline and knew it was going to be there. He just needed the disc in a good spot. Back to the grab by Arun Sharma. That's excellent.
Amazing control there and awareness of where that sideline was. There's been a few great examples of that in this game.
Jack Gray is in his own postcode out there.
Graysville. Not moving at all, just hands up. I'm here.
Graysville, population 1. Score for Krank's 9th. The rain has stopped and the wind has stopped again. So variable conditions at the moment. An added challenge for the players.
Gotta love it. Part of the game, part of the game. You'd think we're playing in Melbourne with this kind of weather.
That's some excellent low-key shade being levelled at us Newcastle locals, our Snowbacastrians. We'll take it on the chin. The conditions have been variable today, and there's no two ways about that. Wilson finds Calaviotis off McDonald, and what was that? Wiseman getting a block. Seems to be the result. So, Krank now, they're doing what they need to do. They've got the break now. They need to convert it. Jack Gray up high, and Gray. Oh, that's a monster. That's an absolute monster for Krank's 10th. They need that, and they need plenty more of it.
They are not out of it yet. They are fighting to the very last point here. Still a long way to go to get in front of Juggernaut. Juggernaut only got to put one more away.
Well, Juggernaut are now going to have, at minimum, 5 opportunities at this.
Oh, it looks like it was just a fumble there. Didn't quite get control of the disc. Gifting it back to Krank there.
Angus Jones, the one who got all kinds of free of Cullen.
Great vision downfield. Do you put on your all-star line for Juggernaut? Finish it off?
Nah. I wouldn't worry about it.
Just roll through it.
Don't put any more pressure on the O-line.
There's enough pressure there already.
Yeah, the prima donnas of Ultimate generally end up on the low O-line. You don't want to, you want to give them the sparkling water. You want to give them the best seats in the circle.
Yep.
And you don't want to place any more pressure on them because in times like this, they're the ones who win the game for you.
Absolutely.
So Lucien Lee, Jake Wilson, Lachlan McDonald, Casciano has gotten free of keys. Casciano to Calaviotis. Calaviotis having a look down the field to find something. Lee
that's
goes
a great grab.
Horizontal. Lee resets the middle to Wilson. Calaviotis. Casciano. They're just inching closer. McDonald's free. Oh, Juggernaut.
Easy as you like it.
They're going to do it. They're going to win this game. And it is the captain, Lachlan McDonald, who does it. He comes out of retirement. And Juggernaut, they break the duckhead here. 15-10, the final score. What a game that was.
What a dominant display by Juggernaut. Just absolutely playing their game from the very first point right to the end. And just creating chaos for Krank there. Krank had no idea what was going on for most of that game, I think. Just handing it to them.
Oh, what a game. And 94 minutes it took. They got there in the end. And so Krank will crash out. They don't get a quarterfinal. That is, well, that's terrible news for them and their hosts, but there'll still be a few more games to play for them. They'll have to maximise their results now. 9th is the best position that they can come.
Yep.
Juggernaut will be in the same bracket as well, but I imagine they won't meet again until much later in the tournament. In terms of the quarterfinals for the Opens, we talked about Ellipsis v Mammoth, talked about Sunder Dice v I-Beam. Fishwick will play the NZ Wildcats, and Sublime will play Sunder Slice. Those games will be coming up tomorrow for what is going to be the 3rd day of the Division 1 Ultimate Championships here. Sarah, any closing thoughts on this match?
Oh, just what an exciting game. I think even though the scoreline, it was quite a blowout in the end. For the majority of the game, it was definitely tight. It could have been anyone's game. And I think Krank just literally kind of handed to Juggernaut at some points, which they definitely could have had it a bit closer and been a bit more in it for the rest of the game. But some outstanding acts of athleticism and really showed what the game's all about.
Well, we thank you all for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for the third day of the Australian Ultimate Championships here. My name has been Daniel Clanton. I've been joined by Sarah Perkins on comms, and we will see you tomorrow.